What's good? What is Star Wars if not iconic? It has some of the most iconic characters of all time that anyone off the street would know. I'm talking Luke, Han, Leia, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Darth Vader, Ben Quaternaros, Padme, Yoda, C-3PO, Gaper Bingzo. Thing is, many of us were not happy with just the iconic character. We had to dig a little deeper. That's where we discover the freaks, the background characters, the glup shittos. Every true Star Wars fan has a favorite glup shitto, a character whose design spoke to you, even though you only saw them for a brief moment in the corner of the screen, or possibly a very long moment, as George Lucas had his VFX team render their face to take up the entirety of the camera. So you say to yourself, hey, there must be more to this guy. And upon looking them up, you're delighted to find out that they have a name that some talented screenwriter must have agonized over for all of 1.3 seconds. And when it comes to Star Wars fans, a character having a name is all they need to be considered life-changing. We tier ranked many classic little shittos in the first part, and today we're gonna do the same. So hold on to your womp rat and let's get started. Nien Nunb. We're starting here with a pretty easy one. Everyone knows Nien Nunb. Come on, ask your mom and dad if they know him. Ask them if they know Nien Nunb. He is a Salustan. He was a smuggler before joining the Alliance to defeat the Empire. Kind of like another guy I know. Where's his A Star Wars Story? He flew co-pilot with Lando Calrissian in Return of the Jedi, and he flew with the Resistance later on against the First Order. I think he might have blown up and got killed by Palpatine in the last movie. I don't know. Many believe he even got entangled in an off-screen love quadrangle with Leia, Han, and Luke. What else can I say besides he's iconic? Throw him an A tier. Next, you know him, you love him. It's Eldar Bedo. I'm sure everyone already knows all his info, but we'll go over it just in case. Eldar is a glymphed male from Plo 2. He's also a decorated pod racer who finished a very respectable 3rd place at the Bunta Eve Classic. And also, if I may, the way bro stands there with his hand on his hip all sassy is just oozing with exaggerated swagger. Here. Coleman Trebor. Coleman is a goated dinosaur-like Jedi who served on the council. I personally loved this freak growing up and would always look out for him while watching Attack of the Clones. Go ahead and roll his entire screen time. During the arena battle, he actually knew it was up and tried to wipe Count Dooku off the board and stop the war before it could even begin. Unfortunately, his Jedi powers were just no match for someone with a gun. For most Jedi, you just go like this, and you never get hit with a blaster ever. So I don't know what happened there. Damn it, Coleman. Survive! This fluke does not put a mark on Coleman Trevor's status as the most powerful Jedi on the council. And he even went out aura farming with one of the dopest death shots we see in all of the movies. I mean, for real. Thank God Mace Windu got his get back on that fraud Django. S tier. Turgle. Turgle here is our first shitto that is solely from a video game, Jedi Survivor. We show up to town and these guys are torturing this innocent creature. This sends Cal into a blind Sith rage where he murders everyone. No, but for real, Turgle's design is so goated. They just really nailed that Star Wars feeling for an original character. S tier. Also, I have to say, outside of Andor, these 2 video games are my favorite thing to come out of Star Wars since Disney purchased it. Doda Badana Weedo. This character has meant so much to me, and his name has been etched into the hearts of so many. Doda Badana Weedo. He played his beautiful music at the Cantina before getting fired and replaced with Figrin Dan and the Modal Node, those smug bastards. Luckily, he can be seen playing later on with the Max Rebo band. B tier or A tier? What's really the difference between the tiers? No, I'm really asking you. B tier. And that brings us to Figrin Dan and the Modal Nodes. You just can't argue with that sound. I mean, hot biggity. Barkwin Don, number 9 on the jukebox. A tier. Griada Gendawanian. Griada is a backup dancer for the Max Rebo band, and one thing you can say about Griada Gendawanian is that she's in the movie. If memory serves, I think there's a shot where she looks visibly concerned after they throw Jabba's slave girl into the Rancor pit, and that just says so much about who she is without saying anything. S tier. Peter Igloo. Who's Peter Igloo? My comfort character? Once framed for the Death Sticks related killing of Ben Quaternaros. Of course, that's all in his past. Ben Quaternaros was resurrected and their fight was decanonized. Peter Igloo comforts me, and that's all you need to know. S tier, baby. Wat Tambor. Wat Tambor is like this strange steampunk-like creature who serves on the Separatist Council. This is a character I always had like a vague memory of noticing while watching the prequels as a kid, and then rewatching them recently, it like unlocked a crazy memory for me where I was like, oh yeah, that character's real and he is in the movie. Such a unique prequel design, and it's cool that they brought him into the Clone Wars TV show as well. I'll go A tier. Therm Scissor Punch. Introduced in Solo, a Star Wars story. He's one of the Disney era butt fardos. He's like this giant prawn. He's a friggin' scoundrel and a pirate and a shark when it comes to playing cards. His name is also a hoot. Not too much to complain about here. Also, I feel like they gave him an absurd amount of lore for no reason. I'll do A tier. Yariel Poof. First off, one of the funniest things about Mr. Poof here is when you look him up on Google, he doesn't fit in the screen. He was on the Jedi High Council, and this truly has to be one of the funniest character designs for a Jedi. If you were ever in a lightsaber fight with this guy, you'd have a pretty clear target to aim at. Anyways, I think he died off screen. Honestly, I gotta go S tier for Mr. Poof. I love this guy. Gip Bipple. Gip Bipple is a fan favorite character and is musically gifted when it comes to both dancing and singing. He's also known to play hardball and can back anyone down in a business deal. Post Return of the Jedi, Gip started to sing at more clubs in the Outer Rim, and let's just say, yeah, Joe Yowza didn't take too kindly to that. Later on, at one of those clubs is where he met his wife, Bungalow Ripple. And if that type of love doesn't melt your frozen heart, I don't know what will. A tier. Rhoda the Hutt. Rhoda the Hutt is Jabba the Hutt's son. He was in the Clone Wars show where he was kidnapped by Asajj Ventress, and the Jedi had to form an elite squad to bring that little freak home. It's also been said that Jeremy Allen White has been cast to play him in The Mandalorian and Grogu. That's right, Jeremy Allen White has been cast as Rhoda the Hutt in Mandalorian and Grogu. I'm sorry, that literally sounds like a sleeper agent activation phrase. B tier. Wilro Hood. Wilro Hood is a pretty classic meme in the Star Wars fandom. It's like this scene of a guy running through the corridors of Cloud City with an ice cream machine. People, I guess, recreate it at Star Wars cons. I like the name they gave him, but he's B tier for me. Dr. Evazan and Ponda Baba. Now, these two are obviously some of the most classic and iconic glup shittos ever loved by the fan base. These are the two freaks that accost Luke Skywalker at the Cantina, which leads to a confrontation where Obi-Wan cuts the dude's arm off. This interaction is funny because for some reason, it always kind of scared me as a kid. These guys are just mean, and I didn't like the way you can't understand what the alien creature is saying, and this guy just keeps grabbing him. I know it might seem like an over-exaggeration, but this scene actually freaked me out as a kid for some reason. You'll be dead! These guys show up again as a point at the screen and clap moment in Andor. I know that guy! But I would be remiss if I didn't say they were S-tier material. Poggle the Lesser. He was the leader of the Geonosians during the Clone Wars. He's this bug guy in episode 2. In episode 2 especially, I feel like they really went off the deep end with these designs, and it's fun. I mess with it. If you look into the actual plot line of the prequel movies and what's going on with the Clone Wars and Count Dooku and Palpatine's actual plan, it's funny to see just how important a character like Poggle the Lesser actually is, only to have like blink and you miss it screen time. Anyways, he gets his head chopped off by Anakin. What else is there to really say? A tier. Rapper Toonie. Yeah, now we're talking. This guy's a member of the Max Rebo band, as we've seen with many of the glorious shittos we've gone over on this list. But this one, I think he just has something special. I don't know what his position in the band is, but when I looked it up, all it said was musical genius. So you know he's goated. He would apparently spend entire days sitting motionless to attempt to keep his skin cool on the desert planet, but was able to flee the desert world after the death of Jabba the Hutt. S tier. Gombo John Kai. S tier. Ark Bumpy Roos. He was a pod racer in the Boonta Eve Classic with the nickname Bumpy because of his aggressive racing style. He was also described as dim-witted, which we got to see firsthand when he attempted to sabotage Anakin Skywalker's pod, but actually ended up sabotaging Ben Quadinaros, the GOAT's pod, and ended up costing him the race. Are you kidding me? Dude, for that behavior, I'm putting him in the F-tier dog tier, okay? Luckily, later on, Dudbolt crashed into this absolute fraud, leading to him hopefully blowing up and dying a horrible death. Good riddance, Bumpy. Go to hell. I only have D tiers. D tier is my lowest tier. All right, I had to refilm the ending of this video because like a genius, I decided to start putting my thumb over the entirety of the microphone. Truly is a bounty of crazy. We're finishing off today's glup shitto list with Kabe, this little bat-like creature who loves to just chill and drink at the bar. Look at her now. Look at her reaching for a drink. Yeah, she just like me for real. S tier. All right, everybody, I hope you enjoyed this video. There truly is a bounty of Star Wars freaks out there, so who knows, maybe a part 3 could be in order. But in the meantime, let me know what else you guys want to see on the channel. I love talking about movies, and I love laughing and having a good time. And I hope you guys feel the same. Everybody, high five. I hope you slammed your hand into the computer screen, you better have. Thank you to these lovely, lovely patrons. If you'd like to support me on Patreon, it's in the description. But all right, that's it for now, everybody. Bye-bye, love you, kisses.